So last thing here, we like to do a lot of hot takes on the show. This is one we've been kind of thinking about. Now, normally when we throw these hot takes out there, there's a little bit of people don't sometimes understand what we're trying to do with this, and that is, again,
explain it to them.
It is not what we think is going to happen. It is just simply we look around the internet, we say, hey, okay, yeah, that's a hot take, right? Like Billy Napier of Florida, Tennessee and TCU not being, finishing the season, ranked next year. These are all hot takes that we find. Here's the reality of it. Here's the hot take for this week. Luke Fickell could be leveraging the job at Wisconsin to get over to Ohio State. He's getting a little bit closer to his alma mater. He's getting a little bit closer to a place I think he's coached at. I mean, and so here's the reality of it. And this is what makes me say this. This was after they lost to Michigan last year. Ohio State fans are calling on Luke Fickell to coach football team. I mean, this isn't me. This is Fox 19. I think this is out there, a local paper.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to jump in right here, Christian. I've been dick riding Luke Fickell for a while, right? I mean, I like the guy. I think he's a damn good coach. I could bring up some stats and stuff like that, but played at Ohio State, coached there forever, either as a defensive guy. I believe he played nose guard there back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. Actually was drafted undrafted and then went to the Saints, if I'm not mistaken, as a nose guard, even way back in the day, like back in the 90s. But he's an Ohio State guy. There's no doubt. He spent a shit ton of time there. I believe he was the intern. He took over for What's His Bucket in 2011 as the head coach. Did a great job there. I thought that they were going to take him as the head coach, and they didn't. He went on to Cincinnati, is where he last was, and man, you saw what he did with that program, man. Put out some NFL guys, Desmond Ridder, Sauce Gardner, man. Some of those guys out in the NFL right now, they're young guys right now, but I mean, he put out some talent, man. He did a good job of turning that program around. Not that Cincinnati was complete trash when he got there, but done a damn good job, man. And I'm gonna say this on air right now, is that he was a guy he was the number one guy I wanted for Nebraska, over Matt Rule even. And I thought Wisconsin landed a stud here. I thought that was a big plus for them this year. I believe his winning percentage is like 71 or 72% as a coach. The guy can win some football games. Now people are going to say, oh, he was at Cincinnati. Okay. I mean, I guess that doesn't really mean much to me. The guy still wins games, puts out NFL prospects. He can recruit. He's got guys that can play. That's pretty much where I'm at with this guy, man. To answer your question here, is he leveraging the Wisconsin job to get the Ohio State job? I think he is. I think he's kind of, I don't know the guy personally or anything, but I just think that give him some time there at Wisconsin, turn that program around a little bit. Wisconsin's been down a little bit compared to what they usually are. I think he's going to have a lot of success there. And I don't know about Ryan Day, bro. I like Ryan Day. Ton of talent. So Ohio State, they get a lot of talent too. But my thing about Ryan Day, though, Christian. I always say it, and I think you brought it up too. It reminds me a little bit like a Riley going on, That's where I think if he takes Wisconsin, like you explained the hot take, this is just a hot fucking take. I could see him, if he's really successful at Wisconsin, which I do think is going to happen, does that put pressure on Ryan Day and Ohio State if they're not getting to where they want to get to, which ultimately is a national championship every year at Ohio State? Beat Michigan, win a national title. That is their goals every fucking year. That has to be. I mean, they're not putting, let's go 8-4 or 9-3 on the board. You know what I mean? They got way too much talent over there. Give it a couple years, see what happens. I could see this working out for Luke Fickell. He is an Ohio State guy. I know he loves the fucking program a ton. Spent a lot of time there. I want to hear your fucking thoughts on this, because you hate the fact that I just love Luke Fickell.
I don't hate it. I get it. I mean, he's to me, if you want to make analogies here, you've taken one of the analogies I've said here, and that is comparing Ryan Day to yes. Lincoln Riley. I'll make another comparison for you. You think about this. Luke Fickell is like the second coming of Urban Meyer without the alleged controversies. You think about what Urban Meyer did at Utah, then he leveraged that over at Florida, then he went from Florida to Ohio State. And I mean, the guy's won everywhere he's been. So you think about Luke Fickell, everywhere he's been, he's won. mean, he got Cincinnati to the playoffs. He had Cincinnati a couple of years back taking Georgia to the ropes in the Peach Bowl. I mean, there's some things that Luke Fickell does as a coach with teams that he has no business getting them to that spot. And he does a really great job with the talent he has. Now, with that being said, I think where there's smoke, there's fire. I think it's really interesting that you look at a lot of these guys that are coming into the Big Ten that have, previously, Matt Rule over at Nebraska played at Penn State. He was a diehard Penn State guy. Luke Fickell played at Ohio State, diehard Ohio State guy. I think this is all setting up to, if Ryan Day, I think really you could make the argument if you start to see over there, Wisconsin arguably is in it this year and can get to a Big Ten championship game, or they can pull off an upset this year of somebody that they shouldn't, and they still are in the thick of it, man, there's some potential. There's some potential over there, especially if old Ryan Day, he doesn't win against Michigan, or they get kicked in the opening round of the playoffs, or they don't even make it to the playoffs this year. Right. And I know we've had our bets on that. We've kind of set our thing on it. We've got it. I've gotten it written down right here. Right. One truffle shuffle beer chug shirtless is on this. Okay. So, we're going to have to kind of keep that in mind with the Ohio State Michigan game. But as far as this is concerned, yeah, I think this could happen. Do I think it's going to happen next year? No, I think that's too soon. I think he'll probably be at Wisconsin. For me, if he's at Wisconsin past about 3 or 4 years, that would surprise me.
Right. I got a question for you there. So do you think, let's hypothetically speak here because it's a hot take, right? We can just kind of throw shit out there.
Sure.
Let's say that he wins a Big Ten title year 3. Not Luke Fickell, Ryan Day loses to Michigan the next 3 years. Makes the playoffs, but loses in the first round, whatever, just like what happened this year. Is that would you say, hey, this is the time where Ohio State's, you know what, fuck it. We're going to, if that would happen, would you think that would be enough time? 3 years, Luke Fickell looks way better as a coach than Ryan Day does?
I think
not enough time, though.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't see Ohio State losing to Michigan. What would that be? 5 years in a row?
You can flip-flop that, though. They beat the fuck out of Jim Harbaugh for years, and I think he's a great coach.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And
I know that's
going
to happen, but if it did, or let's say that he wins 1 out of the 3, I don't think that's still enough.
And that's all I was trying to say is, look, could it happen to where, he flip-flops, he wins 1 this year, loses 1, loses 2, whatever have you, gets him into the playoffs, to me, it's national championship or bust. Really, that's what it comes down to for, I think, most Ohio State fans. They are sick and tired of having to say that the last time they won a national championship was, it's almost a decade ago, right? That was the team that had Zeke.
Jones, was it not? At quarterback?
Yeah. Zeke was on the team. Yeah. Cardell Jones, JT Barrett. I think that was the year Cardell Jones stepped in.
Yep.
Right at the end there.
The other guy, on that team. Yep. No, but think about Ohio State, though, man. How many fucking times have they been in the conversation last time? They're always a team that is, Jesus Christ, when they had Justin Fields, who I love to death. I know you got some bitter feelings about that guy, but we'll get into that a different day. But you know what I mean? They've been super relevant. They just haven't been able to get to the top. And let's be honest, Christian, I'll say it again. We said it on a previous podcast. They should have beat Georgia last year in that fucking playoff. Don't even fucking, I know shoulda, coulda, woulda. But if it wasn't for fucking piss poor coaching on Ryan Day's part and some kicker that looked like he hadn't kicked a football ever, you guys don't win a national title.
Can you really blame that on old Day, though? I agree with you. Look,
did you see the clock management at the end of the game, dude? It was fucking terrible. The plays they were calling, come on.
But at some point, if you're Ryan Day, you have to figure defense out in big games. Hey, in big games, you gotta figure it out, and that's the whole point of it. Yeah, and you look at Luke Fickell. Granted, when Cincinnati made it to the playoffs, they just got overwhelmed on offense. But I thought, let me look this up real quick because now you've got me.
2021, right?
Yeah,
That was 2 years ago.
yeah. I want to see something because I think if I remember right, yeah, Alabama only beat them 27-6.
Yeah,
if they, I mean, think about it. Georgia beat TCU, and I know you're going to be like, whatever, by like huge margin. And I think if you look at it, would you say TCU is a better football program than Cincinnati?
No, actually, I wouldn't. No, and I know I threw you for a loop there. I don't. I guess okay. Whoa. Currently, yeah. Do I think 2 years ago? No, I thought Cincinnati was that team was loaded, bro.
Yeah,
Desmond Ridder was a damn good quarterback, man.
Okay, I'm just saying.
He plays for your fucking Falcons.
I know he does. I know he does. Do I think? I know he does. I think he's going to be good. But here's what I'm saying. It would have been to me that would have been a more interesting matchup, for a playoff game. 100%. TCU, Desmond Ridder, and Max Duggan, battling it out. But my main point with it is, okay, let's say if you just concede this and you say, okay, they were on the same par there.
No, they're right in the same ballpark.
They held Bama to under 30 points. I mean, they just, again, you look at what Luke Fickell does, he's going to get the most out of that talent. I think he's going to get Wisconsin turned back around. And I think he's going to make life really difficult for those boosters and the people making the decisions over at Ohio State. Again, you got to, and I will say this, Ohio State, they're going to have to figure out quarterback play, man. They've had some sure-handed quarterbacks back there. And for the first time under Ryan Day, they're going to have a legit quarterback controversy on their hands.
I agree.
This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I mean, seriously, dude, if they can't get quarterback play figured out, Wisconsin somehow ends up being the second best team in the Big Ten this year by record and just what you see on the field. I don't know, man. If Ohio State has a train wreck of a season, this could happen sooner than you think.
Nope. I'm not even going to disagree with you on that. I mean, again, we said this was a hot take. I could see it happening, though. It's definitely in the realm of possibilities. You know what I mean? And it's a very good possibility, in my opinion. If Ohio State, like you said, and I'm a big advocate for quarterback play, right? Bringing back a quarterback every year, or at least knowing who the fuck your starter is going to be. They do. They have an all-out fucking, I think it's a coin flip, whoever wins that thing. Say the guy looks good for 2 games, looks like shit, and then they're mid-season quarterback controversy, right? A lot of drama could happen here with Ohio State. They got a ton of talent on that team. Don't get me wrong. They're bringing back some studs, but I could see Wisconsin quietly winning games. Might not be pretty, Christian. Win some games, kind of sneak into that third spot, and they're already up there. You know what I mean? Luke Fickell's done it, man. He did it at Cincinnati. He did it. He did a damn good job. People forget when he was an intern there as a head coach, took over for I think it was Urban. I think did a great job, man. The guy can coach, man. I'm big on him, but I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, that's why we sit on here and we give hot takes, right? One of us is right usually, and one of us is wrong.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is, by the way, speaking of that, I saw this come on. Devin Brown, one of the guys that's going to be battling it out for their for Ohio State's quarterback position, changed his number. You're not ready for this.
No
to
way,
number 33.
Well, he ain't playing quarterback then.
No, he is.
No fucking way.
I swear to God, dude, look it up. He did it.
No way.
He did it to pay homage to one Slingin' Sammy Baugh.
Man, he's not going to be a quarterback.
Come on, dude. What was his name? Somebody. Oh God, bro. Somebody wore 99 for Michigan. Was it Devin Gardner one year? Or?
Man, am I losing my mind? Didn't Jared Lorenzen, your boy, your hero, did he wear a fucking weird number too? Because he looked like
22.
Yeah. He did. I'll be surprised, man. That's fucking. I mean, if he does, that's crazy. Like, good for him. You just don't ever see that though. Like, to me, it makes it sound like he didn't win the job. So
it was okay. Believe it or not, back in the day, which was a Wednesday, by the way, Devin Gardner wore number 98 to honor Tom Harmon. Yeah.
Season? Really?
Yeah.
I did not. Thanks for the the info on. I did not know that. That's a good one, man. I did not. You would have. If I had $1 million on the line, I would have shit the bed there.
Yeah, I mean, and this was recently. I think this was like mid 2000s. So
God, I don't remember that. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, most quarterbacks were the teens or single digits. You know what I mean? Like you never see anything over 20 ever.
no, yeah, I mean, and that happens with old age. You start to lose touch with reality a little bit.
This
you start
fucking
misremembering
guy.
things.
I'm gonna say it. The cock on this fucking guy. This micro penis on you. Wow.
Well, man, it's runs in the family. I think that's unfortunately the only thing that runs in my family.